What's going on, guys? It's me, TheRealMossi, with another Battlefield 3 video for you. Now, you know I usually do vehicle related videos, but it's finally time to get your guns up. I stayed away from talking about guns until now because, well, everyone who does videos about FPS games talks about guns, and for good reason. I mean, these are first-person shooters and you can't shoot without a gun. But I stuck to vehicles because that's something unique to Battlefield 3, and I wanted to make vehicles more accessible, especially to new players. But I've covered a lot of different aspects of vehicles and gadgets and upgrades now, so I thought it's time to start talking about something different: guns. There's also another reason I'm doing this. This has been one of the most requested types of videos by you guys. I've been putting it off until I was able to do a thorough job of covering vehicles, and I think I've done that. So like I said before, it is now time to get your guns up. Alright, so this is a new series where I'll be covering the top 5 guns of each class, starting off with assault rifle. So basically this will be a ranking of the top 5 guns with a small review of each of the 5 guns. I'll give you some of the more important numbers for each gun that I cover, so stats like damage, fire rate, mag size, and reload time, amongst other things. But that won't be it. I mean, anyone could find these stats online, and I'll include the link to the website from which I got these stats. But just giving you a bunch of numbers isn't going to help you a whole lot, especially if you're a beginner. So I'll be giving you some subjective information on how the gun handles, how easy or difficult it is to use, the best situation to use a particular gun, you know, things you can't really infer from just a bunch of numbers. And this ranking was made with beginners in mind, because let's face it, if you're a pro with 20 days logged in, you probably already have your own top 5. You don't need me to tell you. This ranking weighs the ease of use of the gun more heavily, so beginners can do well with the gun without having to spend days playing the game. Now, that doesn't mean that these guns are for noobs. I'll be ranking the best overall guns, but I'll just be giving ease of use a little more weight in the rank. And I apologize in advance if your favorite gun isn't in my top 5. Oh, and one more thing, this ranking will only include guns from the core game. I'll do a special ranking to cover all of the guns in the full premium DLC package when they're all out. Okay, now before I get started, I'm sure you've noticed this beautiful HD gameplay. This is courtesy of the damn hobo lover. I know it's a pretty funny name, but don't let that name fool you. This guy is for real. He's one of the nicest people I've met on here. A couple of weeks ago I get a PM from Hobo, who was a complete stranger by the way, and he goes, "Hey Mossi, I've noticed that you've been getting a lot of grief because your videos aren't in HD. Would you like to use some of my gameplay in your videos?" There was no condition from him saying that I can only use the clips if I plug this channel or put his channel in my sub box or anything like that. He just gave me some of his clip to use just like that. You don't find too many people like this guy around, trust me. And he's not just nice in real life, he's nice in video games too. If you pay attention to the gameplay, you'll see that when he gets revived by a teammate, he'll take the time to go into the CAMO rows to thank them. He's on the PC by the way, and he's playing Team Deathmatch. And he thanks them even if it means leaving him vulnerable for a couple of seconds. And a couple of times he does get killed because of this, but that doesn't stop him. He's a nice guy, a great team player, so please do me a favor and check out his channel and subscribe. He has a lot of short, funny, lighthearted clips showing off the lighter side of the battlefield, and he has some nice kill streaks too. So check him out, guys. The link to his channel will be on the screen right now and in the video description. Alright, now we'll get on to the guns. I know, finally, right? Don't worry, I'll get through them all. Alright, starting things off and coming in at number 5 is the AN94. Now this gun would have been higher in the ranks if it was easier to use. The AN94 is the most difficult gun to handle out of the 5 guns on this list, especially if you're a beginner. We'll get into that later, but first let's look at the stats. The AN94 is the second last assault rifle you unlock. You need a total of 166,000 assault kit experience points to unlock it. This gun is capable at firing at 600 RPM, which is the slowest fire rate out of all the assault rifles except the G3A3. The AN94 has a max damage of 25 and a minimum damage of 18.4. You'll run into these two numbers a lot in this video. The damage drop-off starts at 8 meters and reaches the minimum at 50 meters. What this means is that if your target is within 8 meters, you'll do the maximum amount of damage, which is 25. If the target is between 8 and 50 meters, the damage decreases linearly from the max of 25 to the minimum of 18.4. And if the target is farther than 50 meters, this gun will always do its minimum damage of 18.4. The AN94 has a magazine size of 31 rounds, 30 in the mag and 1 in the chamber. It comes with a total of 155 rounds and a max of 248 total rounds when using the ammo specialization. In fact, all of the assault rifles on this list have exactly the same amount of starting ammo. Okay, let's take a look at the AN94's reload times. There are 2 different types of reload times depending on whether you reload when the gun's completely empty or when it has at least 1 round remaining. Reloading an empty gun takes longer. The AN-94's reload time with at least one bullet left is 2.45 seconds, which is pretty average, and its reload time when empty is almost a whole second longer at 3.3 seconds. So when reloading the AN-94, save yourself almost a full second by reloading when you have some rounds remaining. Try not to finish a full clip before reloading. Actually, that goes for all of the assault rifles. Make a habit of reloading before you're completely empty. Alright, now that we've got the boring stats out of the way, let's talk about how this gun handles. Like I said before, out of the 5 guns on this list, the AN-94 is the most difficult one to get used to. It has a slow rate of fire, so you'd think it'll be easy to handle, but it tends to have a bit of a kick up and to the right. But if you get used to it and learn how to use this gun properly, you can do some serious damage with this gun. The AN-94 excels at medium to medium long range and is made for burst firing. In fact, its default firing mode is 3-round burst. That's gotta mean something, right? It's best suited for mid to large sized maps, where you can set up in one area and pick people off using an ACOG scope or a reflex sight. This is where you should use the 3-round burst mode. Now, if you're planning on running around, it's better to go full auto just in case you turn a corner and come up against an enemy at close range. This gun does not do very well at close range because of the slow rate of fire, so it won't be great on maps like Operation Metro or Grand Bazaar if you're planning on running and gunning. If on the other hand you're playing a defensive role, holding down an area from mid to long range, the AN-94 can be effective even on those smaller maps. Alright, moving on. Coming in at number 4 is the F2000. This gun is almost the complete opposite of the AN-94. The AN-94 is a bit difficult to get used to. The F2000 is one of the easiest guns to use in the game. The AN-94 is one of the slowest firing guns in the game. The F2000 is one of the fastest. The AN-94 is best suited for mid to long range, and the F2000 destroys at close range. Let's get into the stats. You need a total of 124,000 experience points to unlock the F2000. It has one of the highest fire rates at 850 RPM. Its damage distribution is identical to the AN-94 and every other assault rifle in the game except the G3A3. The F2000 has a maximum damage of 25 and minimum damage of 18.4, just like the last one and the next one for that matter. It also has 31 rounds, 30 in the mag and 1 in the chamber, but there is some difference in the reload times. Its reload time with at least 1 round remaining is 2.5 seconds, which is pretty average, just slightly longer than the AN-94. The empty reload time is exactly 1 second longer, at 3.5 seconds, so again try to reload before emptying the clip and save yourself a full second. That 1 second doesn't really make much of a difference if you're picking people off from long range, but that's not what the F2000 excels at. This is a close quarters gun, and when you're in close-up gunfights, that 1 second you save will either save your life or help you get an extra kill or two. Along with the high rate of fire, the F2000 also has the lowest hip fire spread out of any assault rifle. So if the AN-94 was made for burst firing, the F2000 was made for hip firing, at least when it comes to assault rifles. It's one of the best assault rifles for close quarters combat, but make sure you keep a support class teammate with you because you'll burn through ammo very fast. Moving on to number 3, we have the trusty M416. It's being featured in this gameplay, and it's one of the most popular assault rifles in the game. This gun does well in a lot of different situations. It's a jack of all trades. You can use it effectively in both close quarters and mid to medium long range if you burst fire. You need a total of 22,000 assault experience points to unlock it. It fires at a slightly better than average 750 RPM. Its damage distribution is exactly the same as the other two. It also has 31 rounds, 30 in the mag and 1 in the chamber. We've seen all these before, but the M416 gets out ahead when it comes to reload times. Its reload time with at least 1 round left is 1.75 seconds, which is the fastest out of any assault rifle. Its empty reload time is 2.5 seconds, which is the second fastest. So if you like to reload after every kill, this is the gun for you. This gun does have some recoil, but it's very manageable even if you're a beginner. You do need to burst fire at long range, but at close to medium range, even if you hold down the trigger, you should be able to manage the recoil. Like I said before, it's great for both small and mid-sized maps. So this is a very popular early unlock weapon which has pretty average stats, but it's very easy to handle and has the quickest reload time. Its accuracy and ease of use make it a good choice for mid to long range. Its quick reload time allows you to use it effectively at close range as well. Okay, let's get on to number 2. At number 2 we have another very popular gun, the good old M16A3. This is another gun that's good in a lot of different situations. The M16A3 is available by default for the US side, but if you want to use it for the Russian side, you'll need to unlock it by getting 220,000 assault rifle experience points. It fires at a relatively high rate of 800 RPM. Again, the damage distribution and clip size are exactly the same as the other 3 guns. So let's look at the reload stats. Its reload time with at least 1 round remaining is 1.8 seconds, which is the second fastest out of all assault rifles. The M16A3's empty reload time is 2.3 seconds, which makes it the fastest empty reloading assault rifle in the game. Now this gun can be used almost exactly like the M416. It can be adapted to close quarters and mid to long range. The M16A3 does have a bit more recoil than the M416. The M16A3 tends to drift a little more to the right than the M416, so it's a bit more difficult to use, but not by that much. Even beginners should be able to handle it though. Now the advantage the M16A3 has over the M416 is the RPM. It fires 50 more rounds per minute than the M416, and it makes it that much more deadly. It tends to fare noticeably better than the M416 in extreme close quarters fights just because of the faster fire rate. And when burst fired, it tends to do just as well or better, depending on how you handle the recoil, than almost all other assault rifles. Alright, now for number 1, the best assault rifle out there. I think most of you guys have figured it out. It's the AEK-971. This gun is very easy to pick up and fire, but it takes some time to master all of its aspects. I'll get into that in a little bit, but first the stats. You'll need 60,000 experience points to unlock the AEK-971. It fires at a blistering 900 RPM, second only to the FAMAS, which is a premium gun. Like the rest of the assault rifles, the damage distribution is the same, and the clip size is exactly the same. When it comes to reloading, however, it's not the slowest, but it's definitely on the slower end. Its reload time with at least 1 round left is 2.55 seconds, but its empty reload time is one of the slowest of all assault rifles, coming in at 3.68 seconds. So its empty reload time is 1.13 seconds slower than reloading with a round left. This is a huge difference, especially for a gun with such a high fire rate. If there's any gun you don't want to empty, this is the one. Always reload this gun whenever you have the chance. The long reload time is about the only negative aspect of this gun. It's extremely easy to use, much easier to handle than the M16A3, even though it has a faster fire rate. Close quarters, this gun handles just as well as the F2000, but fires faster and has less vertical recoil. In fact, the AEK-971 has the lowest vertical recoil out of all of the assault rifles in the core game, and only a few of the premium assault rifles match the AEK's low vertical recoil. Even with the heavy barrel attachment, which increases the vertical recoil, the AEK's vertical recoil will still be lower than all the assault rifles without the heavy barrel. So this gun is a great fit for those of you who like to use a heavy barrel. The heavy barrel reduces the ADS spread, by the way. I know I haven't gone too much into the attachments in this video because I'm planning on doing a special attachment only video to fully explain all of the attachments and the best attachment for each gun. Alright, now let's get back to the AEK-971. With the heavy barrel attachment, the AEK becomes a very serviceable mid to long range weapon when burst fired. So the AEK-971 gives you pretty much the best of everything, except of course the reload time. It fires the fastest while being one of the easiest handling assault rifles with the lowest vertical recoil. It excels in all situations with the right attachment, and it's available pretty early in the ranks, so beginners can get their hands on it and get used to it. Well, that's it guys. Here's a quote of the week. I hope you enjoyed this new series and find the information useful. I'll go over all the different classes and attachments in this series. I hope you check them all out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the commentary, please rate, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the gameplay, check out the damn Hobo Lovers channel and subscribe to him. The link's in the description. Thanks again guys. As always, I'm TheRealMossi. Tell your friends about me.